I want an answer. It's not something you ignore.
I think you're 100% full of shit is what I think. If you think we
no offense, well, fuck you then.
Whoa.
I'm full of shit.
Hey, clean it up.
Hey guys, how's it going? And there's the Brown Line. Off to a hot start today. Live stream chat, what's happening? Radio Doogie in early, I see. Nice. Our show starts at 1 in the afternoon for downloaders, and Doogie on the live stream chat, he usually weighs in at about 2 o'clock with good morning.
That's my kind of guy, man. Yes, sir. I like that.
But here
like that.
Here it is, 1 p.m., and Doogie just put good morning. So, good morning, Doogie.
Right,
You're up early.
It's still morning in California.
All right, your Ben Joravsky show for Tuesday, January 12th. It's just moments away.
Wow.
But what? Wow.
It's already January 12th. That's what I was saying. Like, wow, man, the earth goes around and around. Time is just constantly moving on, dude. Whoa.
We're cruising along. Your Ben Joravsky show for Tuesday, January 12th. By the way, push your camera down a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, there it is. There's that face. Wait, not a polar bear. It's Ben Joravsky.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
All right.
Hold on, man, to keep things doing this.
All right.
Weird
The sponsors
thing,
may be listening right now. All right. Come on.
Oh, sorry, man.
Camera up. There we go. Okay.
Oh, there we go. Is that good?
No, I see your chin, and only there's your face. There we go. All right. There we go.
Good-looking guy.
Hey, SEIU, we'll clean it up. Don't worry. All right. SEIU Healthcare, Illinois, Indiana are sponsors of this program, as well as our good friends at the Chicago Federation of Labor. And, of course, today's Ben Joravsky show. Every Ben Joravsky show is brought to you by the Chicago Reader, chicagoreader.com. Subscribe to the Reader. If you got some extra cash, throw it the Reader's way. Reader's been free for so long anyway, you know what I mean? chicagoreader.com and subscribe. Okay, you have a song of the day, Ben. It comes from Frank, and Frank's a big college football fan. And I guess his Alabama team won. I don't know. I don't follow any of this. But
they were victorious. Mm-hmm.
His song of the day, Celebration by Kool and the Gang.
Oh, I love that song. But, you know, I just want to say a couple of things before we do this.
Okay, your camera again. Push it down a little bit. Okay, now up a little bit. Now up a little bit. Up a little bit. There we go.
This
there
camera,
we go.
It's going to fall again. Oh, God dang, what a good-looking guy.
There he is.
Here's the thing, man. I just want to say this about singing a song. I love singing the songs. I'm happy to do it. But, you know, when we drop the podcast, I would like you to edit this out because I'm worried about, like, what WBEZ would think. If by chance they were to listen, they go, oh, that's not very professional. Our people don't, you know, do
Well, that thought's about 3 years late, but whatever. Sure.
So just edit it out, right, Dave, for the podcast. Celebrate good times. Come on. Do, 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 do. Woo, woo. Oh, yeah. Boom.
I like the oh, yeah at the end.
Hey, you know, it's kind of improvised. You know, Dave, that's how I do it.
One more time, the oh, yeah.
Celebrate
not the go
good
ahead.
times. All right. Oh, yeah.
The Ben Joravsky show starts now. It is Tuesday, January 12th, and live from my apartment and his attic, this is the Ben Joravsky Show. Today on the program, it's the return of Marc Sims. And now your host, do not hire him as a cameraman. If I've learned anything in the last week, do not do that. Chicago Reader columnist Ben Joravsky.
Hello, everybody. Ben Joravsky here. We're calling this Nothing Ever Changes Tuesday, and here's why. Great weekend. You have a good weekend, D?
Yeah, it was good. Good weekend. Very good weekend.
That's what I want to hear.
I got a new couch.
Whoa.
Hey now.
Breaking news.
I got a new couch.
Whoa, that is break. I'll tell you what, man. Life's good for Dr. D. He's got a new couch.
No, it wasn't in the alley, guys. I know that's what a lot of people were thinking.
Yeah, it's okay. You get some good couches out of that alley. All right. What did I? Oh, I watched Mrs. America. Excellent, good series. It's a shame I haven't watched it already, but sometimes it takes long. Saw Hamilton. My shot. That's from Hamilton D. Just don't worry about it. That's one of my favorite songs from it. I want to thank you, Frank, once again. Without you, I wouldn't have seen Hamilton. Monroe's going to be so excited to talk about Hamilton tomorrow. He loves it. He's seen it like 6 times. But mostly I spent this weekend doing what I've been doing for the last 4 years, ladies and gentlemen, and that is obsessively following the insanity of Trump and his allies and just the whole Trump world. Folks, this is insane. It's as though everything's changed in the last 6 years, but nothing's changed in the last 6 years. As though we're right where we were when this roller coaster ride started back in 2015 or whatever it was that Donnie came down those stairs at his tower in New York and announced he was running for president by cussing out Mexicans and calling them rapists and criminals and saying he was going to protect the border, etc. and so forth. And sure enough, that's where he went today, to the border, to look at his wall, what he made of his wall, which is not really a full wall. It's not a wall like that was going to cover the entire border like he said he would do. But it doesn't really matter, ladies and gentlemen, because nothing matters to MAGA when it comes to Donald Trump. They don't care if he actually built the wall he said he was going to build. It was more like he said he was going to build it, and that's good enough. And if he says he did build it, they'll believe him. They love Donald Trump so much, he could point to empty space and goes, there's my wall right over there. And they go, yeah, it looks like a wall to me. Meanwhile, also in the category of nothing ever changes, Congress just issued articles of impeachment. I've been following this one all weekend as well. That makes 2 articles of impeachment efforts in 1 term of a presidency. That's got to be some kind of record. The last one, as we all know, died in the Senate. That was earlier in 2020. Seems like ages and ages ago, but it was a year ago. They only got 1 Republican to vote for it, Mitt Romney. Maybe this time they'll get 2 or 3, 4 or 5. This impeachment effort, of course, has to do with Wednesday's insurrection, where hundreds of MAGA men and women, stirred up by too much Donnie, charged the Capitol. The New York Times put it on their front page. Another thing that has not changed, the New York Times has been consistently patrolling Trump, and rightfully so. Here are the relevant portions, Steve, which I will now read. I'll show you on my camera, show all my listeners too, who can't see. So I don't know why I'm showing them it. But here is the relevant portions of the New York Times, and God bless the New York Times. They put this resolution right on the front page. So it's like a perfect cheat sheet for me. I'll take a picture of it and I'll always have it. And then they even highlight like the important stuff in yellow. Sort of like the New York Times has gone back to high school. I'm reading this book and highlighting stuff in yellow. And some people got really carried away, D. Like the whole book was highlighted in yellow. I'm like, what's the point? Anyway, New York Times show more restraint than that. They only highlighted a few sections, like this one. Donald John Trump engaged in high crimes and misdemeanors by inciting violence against the government of the United States. Well, we all know that. We all saw that. We all heard that. And then this one, also in yellow. President Trump addressed a crowd at the Ellipse in Washington, D.C. There, he reiterated false claims that, quote, we won this election and we won it by a landslide, unquote. Wow. Talk about seeing a wall that doesn't exist. He also willfully made statements that in context encouraged and foreseeably resulted in lawless action at the Capitol, such as, quote, if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. Finally, at this point, they summarized some of his efforts to subvert and obstruct the certification of the election, including a phone call on January 2nd, 2021, during which, quote, President Trump urged the Secretary of State of Georgia, Brad Raffensperger, to, quote, find enough votes to overturn the Georgia presidential elections and threatened Secretary Raffensperger if he failed to do so. Concluding, wherefore Donald John Trump, by such conduct, has demonstrated that he will remain a threat to national security, democracy, and the Constitution if allowed to remain in office, and has acted in a manner grossly incompatible with self-governance and the rule of law. Donald John Trump thus warrants impeachment and trial, removal from office, and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. Here, here. Basically, they want to get that point, disqualification, because 35% of the country loves Donald John Trump. By the way, D, it's nice to know I'm not the only person who calls him Donald John Trump. The impeachment papers go, Donald John Trump. Anyway, they got the votes in the House to send the matter to the Senate, because the Democrats have a majority of the House. And they'll have a vote on it after they pass a resolution calling on Vice President Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment. The VP would declare Donnie, quote, incapable of executing the duties of his office and to immediately exercise power as president. It is my prediction that is not going to happen. Same as it's ever been category of things with Mike Pence. He's basically scared of MAGA. He's basically playing this game, go along with Trump in the hopes that he, Pence, will be viewed by MAGA as Donnie's rightful successor. That is every bit as delusional as people who believe in the existence of a wall that does not exist, or people who believe that Donald Trump won an election that he actually lost. MAGA hates Pence. They're calling for his head during the insurrection, as on putting his head on a chopping block. They essentially threaten his life. They threaten his family's life. He still goes along. It's amazing the power of Trump, his ability just to force Republicans into capitulation. That has not changed either. In fact, it seems to be getting worse. What else? Oh, yes, my beloved mainstream media. I watched 60 Minutes on Sunday. Haven't done that in a long, long time. I wanted to see Nancy Pelosi's interview. Leslie Stahl was interviewing her, kept hammering away at Nancy Pelosi for not wanting to compromise with the Republicans. Damn that mainstream media. Always bending over backwards to make themselves look like they're playing fair. Well, they were tough on Trump, so they got to be tough on Nancy Pelosi, even though Nancy Pelosi's quote-unquote crimes are like nowhere near as bad as Trump's. I'm going to tell you something, Leslie Stahl. I can tell you don't get out much with lefties. Among lefties, the problem with Nancy Pelosi is that she compromises too much. But according to Leslie Stahl, her problem is she doesn't compromise enough. That's why so many great lefties in this country, like AOC and our very own Samina Mustafa and Babs, are always so irritated and frustrated with her and always giving me grief for supporting her.
Yeah, it's great. It's great podcasting content. What up, Babs?
Yeah. And then Leslie Stahl goes, why can't you be nicer to AOC? Well, which one is it going to be, Leslie Stahl? Compromise more with the Republicans, which means irritating AOC, or welcoming AOC to leadership, which means less compromise? Either way, Nancy Pelosi loses. 60 Minutes is still playing that can't we all get along fantasy. Like I said, nothing's changed. We got a great show today, everybody. Marc Sims, host of Just a Few Questions, the great podcast, will be here. I'll be asking him just a few questions.
I see what you did there. That was good.
Hey, like that.
That was
Turn it
good.
around.
That was good.
What can I say? He's all fired up. He was sending me texts all weekend, too. He was fired up by what happened. Usually, I always thought that Marc Sims was more of a nihilist, but he was very upset by what went down on Wednesday. So we'll talk about all that and much, much more with the legendary Marc Sims. But before we do that, the young man from Mountain, the man that Marc Sims, Samina Mustafa, Leslie Stahl, and Nancy Pelosi call the doctor.
Wow.
With the news.
How's it going, everybody? Hey, what do you say we find out what's happening in Chicago and or Illinois this afternoon? And yes, Mike Madigan. But first, we begin in the city of Chicago.
This is the right thing to do, even though it's a hard thing to do.
Okay, how'd that get in there? So Monday, oh, you okay? Everything good there?
Yeah, I just like listening to that was Mayor Lori Lightfoot back in the days when the pandemic was real. Sorry, D. Go ahead with your story.
So Monday, children returned to Chicago public schools classrooms for the first time in 300 days. You know, since this damn dirty coronavirus flipped all of our worlds upside down. How many students returned? Well, no one knows. Well, one paper thought they knew. They said 6,000. And then later we learned that numbers haven't been released. It's for sure in the thousands. That's all we can tell you, I guess, right now.
How do they get to 6,000 if the numbers haven't been released?
I don't know. Got really weird this morning with numbers.
Yeah, I know. It was weird. I don't know. I think what it is, D, is that too many reporters are in the kitchen on these stories. They got like 20 reporters on every story. You notice that in the Sun-Times and Tribune? So like one guy has the numbers, the other guy doesn't have the numbers. So one guy writes, the numbers are X, and the other guy writes, we didn't get the numbers. And then they put it all in the same story. And I think the only one who reads those stories, the whole story in total, is me and you.
Yeah.
Wait.
One guy's in the break room getting Cheetos. Wait, hold on before you release that story. Oh, too late. And then the numbers are all mixed. I think it's for sure in the thousands. All right, we could say that. So how did day one go? Well, if you ask Chicago Public Schools at least a couple hours ago, they'd say it was a success. According to Chicago Public Schools, more than 70% of teachers and 80% of support staff returned. Some of those who did not come to their school buildings were following safety protocols. Roughly 18% of employees did not clock in and offer a valid reason for not doing so. CPS Chief Janice Jackson said, quote, "The majority of our teachers are doing exactly what they are supposed to." And so far, the CPS plans to move forward. In 3 weeks, the district plans to open buildings to another 70,000 students, and still no word on when high schools are set to return. Now, we have comments from our friends at the Chicago Teachers Union, and leave it to teachers to be on the side of science and common sense. What, do they read books all day or something? The CTU continues to encourage its teachers to not return to the classroom and to rather teach online from home until conditions are safer for their return. But by Monday night, the district had sent letters to teachers warning that if they did not report to classrooms and did not have accommodations, access to their Google Classroom accounts would be blocked and their pay docked starting today, Tuesday. The teachers union has said...
Sorry, man. It's so freaking absurd.
It's all good.
It's so absurd, man.
The teachers union has said it believes that would violate the law. Now, like I said, we have comments from the CTU, but before we read these comments from the Chicago Teachers Union, to further highlight the legitimacy of our teachers' concerns, listen to these awful stories. First, let's hear what the rest of the state discussed on Monday. Ben, a new strain of COVID-19 will become prevalent in Illinois. Here's Illinois Department of Health Director, Dr. Ezike.
It's probably circulating in such low numbers right now that we have not identified it. The significance of us knowing that it's going to be here, is already here, is that with time, as it did in the UK, it will predominate and be the dominant strain. And that would only take, a few months.
Anything else about this new strain, Doctor?
So potentially in March, we could have this new variant be the majority of our cases, and that means that we will have more infectious spread.
So we got that going on. And our Illinois governor, old play it safe Pritzker, who oddly hasn't said anything about students in a city of 3 million people returning to classrooms. You'd think you'd have some issues with this. Governor J.B. Pritzker announced that some areas of the state are moving into phase 1B. Of vaccine distribution.
If things continue to improve in a region, IDPH will reclassify that region according to Tier 2, Tier 1, and back to Phase 4 as they meet the necessary metrics.
Governor, anything we should maintain adherence to?
If we maintain adherence to mask wearing and social distancing and make sure to get vaccinated when it's your time, we will experience a robust recovery that I know we all look forward to.
So that's the governor of our state, Illinois. Chicago's in Illinois, guys. And also, before we get to the comments from the CTU, this breaking news. Illinois Democratic Rep. Brad Schneider tests positive for COVID-19. The following comes from the Sun-Times and Lynn Sweet on the DC beat. Representative Brad Schneider, Democrat of Illinois, announced Tuesday that he tested positive for COVID-19, possibly exposed last week when the Capitol was attacked and he was in a safe room with Republicans who refused to wear masks. Schneider said in a statement, quote, "Last Wednesday, after narrowly escaping a violent mob incited by the President of the United States to attack the Capitol and its occupants, I was forced to spend several hours in a secure but confined location with dozens of other members of Congress. Several Republican lawmakers in the room refused to wear a mask, as demonstrated in video from Punchbowl News, even when politely asked by their colleagues. Today, I am now in strict isolation, worried that I have risked my wife's health and angry at the selfishness and arrogance of the anti-maskers who put their own contempt and disregard for decency ahead of the health and safety of their colleagues and our staff. Schneider said he has displayed no symptoms. Before his diagnosis, Schneider was so cautious that to avoid crowds, he has been driving to Washington from his suburban Deerfield home. Ben Joravsky, your thoughts?
Wow. There's so much to unpack. Before we get to this CTU comments, D, I took notes on everything to unpack. I'll start with Brad Schneider, Congressman Brad Schneider, and he's now in quarantine because he thinks he's been exposed to COVID. I saw the video that accompanied that article of the representatives. They were in hiding. So MAGA, Donnie Trump incited MAGA. MAGA rushes to the Capitol. The overwhelming majority of them are not wearing masks. They burst through the police lines. Did you see the one video of the MAGA guy like whacking the cop with a hockey stick? I mean, it's a dude had a freaking hockey stick. We'll get to Johnny Canizero in a little while. Johnny, I hope you saw that head of the Fraternal Order Police Center. Just looked like a bunch of boys having a good time. This guy was whacking the guy with his hockey stick. Man, they're tolerant of MAGA, aren't they? It's like, what does MAGA have to do to get arrested around here, huh? So anyway, they burst in and they're spreading, polluting everybody. And the Congress is rushed off the floor and sent to safety. And there they are in this room. I don't know where the room was. No, bowels of the Capitol. They're all packed in there. And there's a group of like MAGA Congress people. Like it's sort of like black and white kids in the cafeteria at Evanston High School back in the day. You can't be at the same table. So the MAGA people over at one side of the room and the Democrats are at the other. And this lady another congresswoman is passing out masks to wear to the MAGA people. And they're like, no, that's good. That's okay. It's like during a party and someone's passing a joint. No, I'm cool. They didn't take the mask. I'm like, just to bring back with Leslie Stahl. Leslie, how's Nancy Pelosi supposed to compromise with this crew? Right? In the interview, Leslie Stahl's got her mask on. Nancy Pelosi's got her mask on. Everybody in like the rational world is wearing a mask because that's what the doctors and the experts are telling us. But the MAGA congressmen, no, we don't want a mask. And they're like, got these like, this little look, this smug look on their face, like, mask, don't be silly. So now, Branch, I think there's like 4 congressmen who've come down with COVID-D. I want to say that it seems like the number keeps increasing. This is very serious, this pandemic. That's Dennis's point. But the Republicans, no, we don't believe in masks. They're still resisting. So how are you going to have compromise, Leslie Stahl? Help me out. Help me understand how Nancy Pelosi is supposed to compromise with this crew without alienating AOCs of the world. Please explain that to me. I really would love to know. I know. I want peace. I want everybody to get along. I just want to hold hands and sing Kumbaya as well. But how do you negotiate? How do you find compromise when people don't even abide by the most basic protocols? Won't wear a mask. They're in this crowded little room. Oh, no, not for me. So that was that. Then there was Mike Quigley. I don't know if you saw that story, D, over the weekend. Mike Quigley, a congressman from the 5th Congressional District in the city of Chicago, an exclusive with Lynn Sweet, talking about how just violent the rhetoric and the behavior of MAGA supporters was on the airplane coming back from Washington to Illinois, where MAGA, they had just stormed the Capitol feeling really good. They were allowed to whack security guards over the head with hockey sticks. Oh, no problem. Boys just want to have fun. And now they're on the airplane, and they were threatening. They said they wouldn't put their masks on, just like the Congress. They're MAGA Congress people. They don't wear masks. And so the flight attendant said, well, if you don't put a mask on, we're going to ask you to leave. And then they said, well, we'll put the masks on, but then as soon as the airplane is in the air, we're going to take them off. Like, got you. So the pilot had to come over the loudspeaker and say, if you take your mask off, I'll land at the first airport and kick you off the plane. So how are we supposed to compromise with this? You know, I want to find, I need an answer here. Help me out, Leslie Stahl. How are we supposed to compromise with this? Now Brad Schneider, who, by the way, is the ultimate compromiser. He's a centrist Democrat from like a purplish district in the North Shore of Chicago. He's the epitome of compromise. He's the first guy that would want to put an olive branch over to MAGA. Now he's sick. He's in quarantine because they won't put a mask on. Anyway, meanwhile, in the city of Chicago, as Dennis points out, Mayor Lori Lightfoot and Janice Jackson have essentially announced that the pandemic's over. You know, D, I missed that news. Somehow or other, I missed that one. Oh, yeah, it's all safe to come out now, but you got to wear your masks. Make sure you wear your mask, but it's over. Just send your kid to school. You know, they won't let send your kid to school, and teachers, shut up and get in those classrooms. And D, I'm listening to you, that story you read. Because really, folks, I've said it all along, I'll repeat it. This is not about educating youngsters. This is about putting teachers, or more to the point, the teachers union in its place. It's something that Lori Lightfoot and Rahm Emanuel and all these other Democratic mayors of Chicago have in common with the Bruce Rowners of the world. They hate the teachers union. They can't, I don't know why they hate it so much. I mean, I have my theories. I think it's like an organization of powerful women that really bothers them. That was the case with Rahm, clearly. I thought he could kick. Well, no, with Lori Lightfoot, it's because she's still mad at Stacey Davis Gates and the teachers union for not endorsing her in the mayoral election. She won't get over that. Anyway, so they put him in their place. So the teachers follow this. We discussed this last week. They must have been listening to the show, D, and come up with the solution. The issue is teachers are supposed to go in the classroom and educate the children who show up to the classroom, and they're also supposed to be working with the children who are not in the classroom. They're supposed to be doing that remotely over their computers. So they're essentially doing two sets of teaching at once. Somehow Lori Lightfoot, who's never been a classroom teacher, has figured out how this is going to work. And Janice Jackson, who has learned how to survive by essentially agreeing to whatever the boss says, is going along with it. So now there's teachers who say, well, we won't come to the classroom, but we'll continue to work with our children remotely. So what are you going to do? They're showing up to work. They're just not showing up to the classroom. We asked this question, what would CPS do? And they figured it out, D. I know what we'll do. We'll block them from getting access to their computers. That'll teach them for wanting to teach their kids. That'll show them. And they're like, what? They're going to bring in some substitute teachers who will have the access to the computers? So folks, just in case you actually there's still some of you out there who don't think this is about sending a message to the Chicago Teachers Union, they're going to block access of union members from teaching remotely, but they'll allow substitute teachers to teach remotely. I even heard they reached out to Dennis. Dennis, you're not doing anything from about 11 to 12. Could you do a little remote learning?
Well, it's funny. I meant to talk to you about that tomorrow. I'm going to be a little late. I got a little side gig going on here.
Yeah. What a joke. God forbid they actually meet with Jesse Sharkey or SDG to talk to him about it. You can go, No, we can't allow them to think that they're our equals. They're beneath us. There's a chain of command. They show up. They negotiate with our bureaucrats. We lock them in a room, virtually, I presume, and let them haggle for like 4 hours. And then we'll just do what we want. And then we say, we've had many meetings. Remember that one, D? We've had many meetings. What a weird city. Like, we're in a pandemic, ladies and gentlemen. We've got like these huge old buildings with bad ventilation, and nobody has figured out how to make them free, really secure and safe. It's more like, just trust us. And then they get these doctors to say any old thing. Well, our statistics show that the pandemic's getting better. Oh, okay, I'll read that in this story, and I'll turn the page and read, people, there's a new strain. We don't even know if the vaccine's going to protect us against this new strain. Help! But meanwhile, send your kids to the school, huh? Shut up, teachers. Go back in the classroom. Weird city, D. And you're right. You're right about Pritzker. You're right about him. He's like, I don't need to get in an argument with Lori Lightfoot. Not today. I'll just pretend as though the city of Chicago doesn't exist. Do whatever you want. Mixed messages all over the place. Meanwhile, I'm just an old dude hiding out in my attic, man, hoping I can get through this pandemic without catching the virus. Just hoping.
Now, earlier you said the CTU, a group of powerful women. Very true, but you did leave out the president, Mr. Jesse Sharkey.
Right now,
What's that, Jesse? Couldn't hear you. Anyway.
Come on, Jesse. You know we love you, man. Wait, you didn't put the truck.
Well, that was just absurd.
Yeah.
So now let's read the following comments from our friends at the Chicago Teachers Union, minus President Jesse Sharkey and Vice President Stacey Davis Gates. And by the way, love them or hate them, they have a good point. And shout out to the Sun-Times and Jermaine Nolan for his hard work on this. First up, it's Linda Perales, special education cluster teacher at Corkery Elementary School. She continued to teach remotely last week rather than return to her classroom. Perales said she was informed Monday that her access to her Google Classroom account was being suspended.
That'll teach you for wanting to teach.
Here's the quote from Perales, quote, "I know returning to school is unsafe because we know that our cluster students cannot wear their masks all day. We have been told that we need to build their tolerance to wearing the mask, which implies that they cannot wear the mask. And this is an airborne virus, and not wearing masks puts everyone at risk."
Yeah, that makes sense. But don't listen to her, because she's just a teacher.
Next up.
By the way, again,
go ahead.
They want to deny her the ability to teach because she won't go in the classroom. I know how we'll punish you. We won't let you teach. That way we don't have to pay you. In fact, we're going to save money on all this because we're going to bring in a substitute who makes a fraction of what you make, more money left over for that TIF deal on the north side. Yay!
Next up, it's Quentin Washington. He's a music teacher at Sadlowski Elementary School. Washington said, quote, "It is amazing to me that CPS is requiring those of us who are working remotely to come into the building, but substitute teacher coverage is being done remotely."
Couldn't have said it better, Mr. Washington.
By the way, did you play any instruments in school?
One time they tried to teach me how to play the flute. Not even the flute, but like the fake flute. You know what I mean? I forget what it was. Maybe it's sort of like a recorder. And
the recorder, yeah.
Yeah, and they were listening to me for like 5 minutes ago. You know, Benny, maybe there's something else you could do with your time. Just go sit in the corner. Okay. Anyway, by the way, Sadlowski Elementary School is on the far southeast side. It's named for the great Ed Sadlowski, father of Alderwoman Sue Sadlowski Garza. And just find it cruelly ironic that a school named for a great labor leader is the site of some really crummy labor practices, as in, shut up, get in that freaking classroom, do what we tell you. And if you don't do what we tell you, we won't let you teach. We won't let you teach virtually. What we'll do is get some guy at $20 an hour to do what you do. Actually, maybe less than $20 an hour. All right? That'll teach you. Teacher, shut up. Sadlowski, Ed Sadlowski, great leader of Steelworkers Union. And in his name, they're doing some stuff, man. Pretty crummy way to teach. To treat teachers.
John T. McCutcheon Elementary School social studies teacher Ginny DeLessio Parson spoke about the conditions of her school set to reopen. DeLessio Parson said, quote, 2 of the classrooms set to receive students had not passed the ventilation assessment by CPS's standards. Teachers found rooms that had not been fully cleaned since March.
Oh, God.
And there was no all-staff meeting or clear instruction on how to receive the students. She then went on to say that a staff member tested positive for COVID-19 on Friday, and others who might have come into contact with that coworker were not notified until Sunday. DeLessio Parsons said, quote, we didn't receive notification about the initial case from CPS until Sunday evening. And at that point, we had other staff members exhibit symptoms. And Monday, we had staff members come into the building who later left because they also began to exhibit symptoms.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, D. And you really are a guy who tries to get along with all sides. Mm-hmm. So what's the difference between Lori Lightfoot supporters of the Chicago Public School who don't spread word that there's a person who's spreading COVID, and a MAGA congressperson who refuses to wear a mask regardless of whether other people get COVID? What's really the difference? I know we're all supposed to look down with contempt at MAGA Congress people, and I do, but how are they any substantially different than the bureaucrats at Chicago Public Schools who are just doing whatever this boss says, just like they did whatever the previous boss said, because whatever the boss says must be right, because that person's the boss? How is that any different? Please explain that to me. You're my man of reason and knowledge and understanding. You come from Alton, you learn to get along with all sides. What's the difference between the bureaucrat at CPS who's saying, shut up and get in that classroom, and the MAGA congressmen who say, mask? Who needs to wear a mask?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and let you just stay in the mud on that one, buddy.
That's called a duck and a dash.
With that knowledge and understanding comes, I'm not going there, pal.
Just saying. Doesn't seem like to be a whole bunch of difference, you know? But we're supposed to be mad at the MAGA congressman while embracing the bureaucrats and mad at CTU. Damn that CTU. Why can't they just do what they're told? Why are they such troublemakers? Why do they listen to that SDG? If they just went back to the classroom like Lori Lightfoot told them. Just believe everything Lori Lightfoot says, just like MAGA people believe everything that Donald Trump says. So it's like bad when MAGA people believe everything that Donald Trump says, but also bad that Chicago teachers don't believe everything Lori Lightfoot says. I'm confused, D. Just the mixed messages are overwhelmingly, man.
Also confused. Hey, Governor Pritzker, where you at, buddy? Come on, step up.
The enemy is you.
Oh, well, that was uncalled for.
No, come on. He's like, not getting in the middle of that one. Because he's going to stay out of that. Chicago what? Chicago who? Chicago, never heard of it. I'm in Mattoon, okay? I'm not in Chicago right today, okay? Just do a downstate reference at you, D. You're like, whoa, where'd you get that?
That was good. That was good. CTU, what is that? The trains or something? I don't want to deal with that.
Come on now. Teach. I mean, you know, I don't. Chicago? Never. Is that the name of a basketball team? Like the Chicago Bulls? Heard of them?
Now we do have some teachers union and Pritzker news right now. So let's read that. The following comes from the Chicago Sun-Times, Rachel Hinton and Nadir Issa. Illinois lawmakers have voted to repeal a provision in an educational labor law that for the past 25 years has limited the Chicago Teachers Union's bargaining rights, marking a major win for the union and new leverage as it battles Chicago public schools over reopening and in future disputes. Illinois senators voted 38-16 on Monday to repeal Section 4.5 of the Illinois Educational Labor Relations Act, which will force city officials to bargain with the union over a wider range of issues that is currently mandated once it gets the governor's signature. If Governor J.B. Pritzker immediately signs the repeal bill, which already passed the House in 2019, there could be major implications for CPS's planned reopening, which began Monday for some students. Ben, help me out here. That was really wordy. What did I just read? And What does this mean moving forward for the Chicago Teachers Union?
You know, it's funny. It is kind of funny. I mean, like, I don't know how to fix this camera that sits on my computer. And then when I have to go into the settings, it's this major breakdown. And Dennis has to lead me through it step by step. And it's like just plugging this microphone into the computer is a momentous moment in my life. But I am supposed to absolutely know absolutely everything about the school code. Section 4.5. Ben, you know everything. What's section 4.5? And you know what the sad thing is, Dave? I do know what 4.5 is.
Lord.
I may not know how to change the setting. You should have seen it, folks. Dennis is like, okay, Ben, it's really simple. Now you got that little button on the side. All right, just go down there. You see settings? And meanwhile, he's going, good, Tim, this guy. Anyway.
Every now and again.
Millennials talking to boomers about computers is a funny thing. So section 4.5 is a section of the school code that limits what the Chicago Teachers Union and only the Chicago Teachers Union can negotiate over. For instance, they can't negotiate over the number of kids in the classroom. Can't go to strike over that. So CPS is free to shove like 40 kids in a classroom and then say, shut up and teach those kids. Not the case in other school districts throughout the state. They get to negotiate it. They can take it to arbitration. So look, the reality is this. Upscale districts throughout the state of Illinois have parents who have strong sense of entitlement and a sense of clout. And if they see that their kid's classroom is too crowded, they'll go right down to the principal or the Board of Education and let them know what they think, and boom, it'll be taken care of. That's how it happens in wealthy towns. In the city of Chicago, which is this huge bureaucracy run by a central office that's largely removed from the people it's overseeing, it's like they basically treat parents and children much the way they treat teachers. Shut up, get in that classroom. We'll take care of that overcrowded class when we can. So the teachers can't negotiate over that. That's one of the things they want to they want abolished so that they can negotiate over things like that. And so the whole issue of forcing teachers to teach in the middle of a pandemic is not something that teachers are allowed to negotiate over as well. So by passing this law that eradicates 4.5 and the limits that it puts on what teachers can negotiate over, it's suddenly raising the possibilities that teachers do have the right to negotiate over something like whether they can be forced to go into a classroom that might be dangerous to them. And so suddenly, Mayor Lori Lightfoot will have to treat the teachers with a modicum of respect. She may have to do what I suggested she do months ago, which is call Jesse Sharkey or call Stacey Davis Gates and have a conversation one-on-one and just like, let's talk it through, as opposed to ordering them what to do, because that's how we do it in Chicago. You work for us. I'm the boss. And being the boss in Chicago means bossing around teachers. So, Dee, that's the issue. So now Lori Lightfoot, who supported the eradication of 4.5 when she was running for office, of course, as we've now come to learn, candidate Lori Lightfoot is a lot different than Mayor Lori Lightfoot, something that many people warned me about many times during the campaign. But Ben, what the world are you doing voting for Lori Lightfoot? And come on, she came to the hideout. She told me and Mick Dumke absolutely everything we wanted to hear. She said she was against TIFs.
She brought a hacky sack, man. She was playing with people, man. She was cool.
Hacky sack. She was playing hacky sack with Will Gazzardi in the parking lot. Anyway, so that's the issue there. Now Lori Lightfoot's like, yeah, I wanted it, but can we amend this so I don't have to negotiate with them over forcing them back into the classroom? Can we just force them back into the classroom? Yeah, just shove them in the class. By the way, I don't see, are teachers going to be at the front of the line to get the shot? That's something else. I don't know if they're considered like essential employees. Front of the line, essential employees. I know one thing. Podcasters are way down on that list, Dee, so you'll be sticking in that apartment for quite a while, young man.
Oh, excellent. Oh, and since our state is actually two states, one very much liberal and one very much conservative, constantly bickering with one another, here's what one of our downstate elected leaders said about the CTU news, and it's the furthest from congratulations as you can get. Here's Illinois Republican State Senator out of Mattoon, Illinois, near Decatur, Dale Ryder.
I've seen the prolific nature with regards to tendencies of the Chicago Teachers Union to strike before the 1995 law came in place, because I'll bet there's not another school district in the state that chose to go on strike more often than the Chicago Teachers Union.
Right. Dale, get some water.
Well, look, I said this before, I'll say it again. There's common ground in the state of Illinois between MAGA and moderate Democrats. A lot of common ground when it comes to the Chicago Teachers Union. They hate the Chicago Teachers Union. Rauner, oh my God, Bruce Rauner, remember him, ladies and gentlemen, former governor? He thought the Chicago Teachers Union was the reason that poor kids in the city of Chicago did not do as well as his kids. The rich kids who lived in Winnetka. Yeah, he thought, it's all that teachers union. And Ron was like, yeah, I agree. There's that phase where all these Democrats were drinking that Kool-Aid. And they were thinking, this is like 2008, 2009. And they were thinking, if we're as tough on the teachers union as Republicans are, then we could say we're a roll up our sleeves kind of problem solvers. You know, we're not ideologues. We're practical, pragmatic. We get along with Republicans. We're always working for common good. So they settled on which is the least likely union to fight back, the most vulnerable union, the most vulnerable group of laborers that we could turn the public against. The teachers, yes, because we could say we're doing it for the kids. That was like a little light that went off in Little Rom's little head. And all the other centrist Democrats have been echoing it ever since. Lori Lightfoot's still drinking from that Kool-Aid. It's about the kids. It's always about the kids when they're sticking it to the Chicago Teachers Union. But it's funny, when the Chicago Teachers Union is sticking up for the kids, shut up, get in that classroom. Nobody asks what you think. So yeah, Republicans agree with Lori Lightfoot when it comes to the teachers union. Just like they agree with Rahm Emanuel when it came to the Chicago Teachers Union. And just like they agree with Mayor Daley at the end of his term when he lost his mind, when he didn't get the Olympics. But I don't know, man. Ryder, yeah, I got to help you with your history, young feller. Now, you're a young fella from Mattoon, Illinois. You don't really know about strikes in Chicago. But all those strikes in Chicago that occurred like in the 70s and 80s, it's because the system was always claiming it was broke. In fact, Ryder, one time the system was so broke it couldn't pay its teachers and they went on strike. Now, what do you want? You want them to work for nothing? Is that what you want? Is that what you're advocating? It wasn't 4.5, little section in the code that brought relative peace for Chicago. I'll tell you what brought relative peace for Chicago. Mayor Daley, Paul Vallis, Jerry Chico, and all the powers that be. This is ancient history. I know I'm losing every millennial I ever had with this one. All the powers that be said, you know what? We'll make labor peace. We'll give teachers raises. We'll just take it out of the money we're supposed to be putting in their pensions. And teachers union back then, they were like a go-along bunch. Oh, sounds good to us. Okay. Now suddenly, the pensions are broke. Oops. Oh, it seemed like such a great idea. And by the way, I just want to say, powers that be in the city of Chicago, editorial boards were extolling the virtues of Daley and Vallis. They were fiduciary geniuses. Oh, they're so brilliant the way they run the system. Yeah, D, nothing's changed, man. That was the theme of today's story, talking about Donald Trump. It's like nothing has changed. Republicans, but the only thing Republicans and centrist Democrats can agree on is they hate the Chicago Teachers Union.
Shout out to Kyle Young on the live stream chat. Boy, he really put the nail on the head here, saying, Lightfoot, why doesn't the CTU respect me? I've tried yelling at them, shaming them, starving them, not listening to them, killing them in a pandemic. What am I doing wrong? It must be their fault.
Well put. I'll take your car, throw you in jail.
How did you go from sharing stories over the years to deciding to write a book?
Good question, Mayor. Good question.
Oh, yeah. Why can't Lori Lightfoot treat Stacey Davis Gates the way she treats Hillary Clinton? Huh, D? Why? So nice to Hillary Clinton with that question. By the way, don't get Maya talking about that question. One of the greatest riffs in the history of the Ben Joravsky show. Maya Dukmasova came into the studio. Oh, my God.
All right, so now to that big statewide news. Yes, even in the year 2021, there's still a giant bus waiting outside in the parking lot. A bus full of Democratic elected leaders. A fictional bus ready to fictionally roll over their uber longtime Illinois House Speaker, Michael Joseph Madigan, and elect a new leader. So a lot has went down since we last left you. So let's recap here, and we begin on Sunday night when Illinois Speaker Michael Madigan failed to win the 60 votes needed among fellow Democrats for his re-election bid to lead the state house. Shout out to Shia Kapos and Illinois Politico for the following. In a Sunday closed-door Democratic caucus meeting, Madigan secured 51 votes, an effort to sort out leadership ahead of the formal floor vote this Wednesday. It was a voice vote. Representative Ann Williams got 18 votes, and Representative Stephanie Kifowit 3. Representative Kathleen Willis, well, she dropped out before balloting began. 2 incoming House Democrats, Denise Wang Stoneback and Suzanne Ness, also voted against Madigan. Representative Casey Kelly Cassidy voted present, telling the Sun-Times she did so to, quote, show respect to these women who made this bold choice at this time. We'll pause it right there. Ben, your thoughts on Cassidy's vote of present?
I have no idea. I haven't talked to Casey in a while. I don't know why she voted present as opposed to voting for Ann Williams. Ann Williams is the state rep. It's my state rep. And her district, I think, don't quote me on this, D, borders Kelly Cassidy. If they don't border one another, they're very close. They're both North Side liberals. Well, Casey may be a little more to the left than Ann Williams. But the point is, they've been allies for a long time. So I do not know the answer to that question, D. I know you think I know everything, but I do not know the answer to that question.
Damn it.
Yeah. But I know you're going to continue with this story, but we all knew this was coming, that Madigan did not have the 60 he needed. There were, 19 that said they were not going to vote for him, and they were determined to stick to it. Some of them, their political future hinges on this vote because they live in districts that are swing districts, could go either way. And others on the north side of Chicago, Madigan's not popular on the north side of Chicago, to put it mildly. And so there's going to be opposition there. And so, yeah, we knew this was coming. So this is just like the game being played, moves being made. We knew that first move would end up with Madigan getting 50 votes. We got 51. And then the others blocking him from getting 60. Now, what's the next move?
Madigan is now down 9 votes. Though the Black and Latino caucus has backed Madigan, the 19 Democrats who weeks ago went public opposing him reiterated Sunday they're not backing down. In a statement, they said they won't support Madigan at any stage of the voting process. Representative Ann Williams issued a statement after Sunday's ballot saying, quote, today's vote makes clear the House Democratic caucus is ready for a change in leadership. She also hailed this journey to elect Illinois' first woman speaker. So, it's official. The bus has a driver. Democratic Representative Ann Williams. Okay, easy on the horn, Ann. Now, on to Monday, and the following comes from the Chicago Sun-Times and Rachel Hinton. Monday morning, Madigan announced he was suspending his campaign. Wait, Mike Madigan has voluntarily gotten under the bus? Okay, Ann, here we go. The time has come. Start the bus. Start it. You got to pump the gas. Pump it. There we go. But wait. Oh, wait, hold on. There's more.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's not technically going under the bus.
No, not technically at all. Yeah.
All right. The powerful
Good, by the way. Very well done. Go ahead.
The powerful Southwest Side Democrat took pains, we're talking about Madigan here, to assure members of his caucus that he was not dropping out of the race. All right, Ann, just go ahead and cut the engine. All right, we're good. You just got to pump the gas. You got to pump it. Madigan said, quote, "This is not a withdrawal." He said this in a terse statement issued Monday morning. He said, quote, "I have suspended my campaign for Speaker. As I have said many times in the past, I have always put the best interest of the House Democratic Caucus and our members first. The House Democratic Caucus can work to find someone, other than me, to get 60 votes for Speaker." Late Monday, the Chicago Sun-Times learned that the Black Caucus had chosen state rep and former guest on the Ben Joravsky Show, just saying, Representative Emmanuel Chris Welch out of Hillside as its candidate for Speaker. A source within the caucus said Welch would have Madigan's backing, but Madigan's spokesman denied that. And now comes the 2021 return of Madigan's spokesman, Steve Brown.
Steve, what's going on, man?
When reached for comment, Steve Brown said that the veteran speaker isn't, quote, taking any position on any of the candidates who've either been announced or whose names have been mentioned in the media. And Governor Pritzker showed no signs of trying to intervene or broker a deal for a compromised candidate, saying about the news during his daily COVID-19 update, quote, "Choosing the speaker is the sole responsibility of those members." So I think we're all caught up.
Well,
Ben,
man,
your thoughts?
But that's even more confusing than 4.5, Section 4.5 of the school code. Well, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, let me just say this. As you know, I advocated Chris Welch to be the speaker weeks ago. I said, look, here's what we should do. You ever notice, Dee, how the one thing that almost all these politicians have in common, including the leaders of the Chicago Teachers Union, is they never, ever, ever follow my advice? You ever notice that?
Yeah.
I don't blame them. I'm just saying. What does Stacey Davis Gates have in common with Lori Lightfoot? Well, if Ben says to do something, don't do it. So, I mean, it was so obvious. It was so obvious. Michael Joseph Madigan had to step down. He was causing problems for his beloved Democratic Party. We saw that in the last election. You needed evidence? We saw it in the Thomas Kilbride retention battle, this downstate Supreme Court justice. We saw that in the fair tax. We saw that in many House districts and Senate districts and congressional districts where the Democrats either lost or won by smaller margins. All the statewide Democrats, people who know about campaigning outside of Chicago, warned the Democrats, Pritzker, Durbin, Tammy Duckworth. They go, guys, they really hate Madigan outside of Chicago. Now, guys, I know it's unfair. I heard you before you say it. Yes, Madigan has been reviled and turned into a caricature by the forces of the right. Rauner and Kenny G and Johnny Cass at the Tribune and the Tribune's editorial. I know they don't play fair. I know they look the other way when it comes to Donald Trump. I know they're freaking too cowardly to take a stand against MAGA. I understand. They have two standards. I understand they have no principles. They're just in it to win. I get that. But the fact of the matter is, he won't defend himself. He's a liability. So he should have pulled a move out of the good of the party. She should have said, in my humble opinion, I've had a great run. Now it's time for me to step down and support my good friend, Chris Welch. And then Chris Welch will be the next Speaker of the House. Madigan could be his Tex Winter. I said this before, at which point Dennis said, Tex who? Tex Ritter? No, Tex Winter. Now, because it's politics, I get to do a little basketball related stuff. D?
Oh, make it quick. I'm looking at make it quick, pal.
Tex Winter was an old coach, been around forever. And in the 1990s or late 80s, Phil Jackson, when he became coach of the Chicago Bulls, said, that's my Phil Jackson imitation. I'm going to have Tex Winter sit next to me in the bench and whisper in my ear, give me advice. And that's what Tex Winter did. He gave advice to Phil Jackson. And when Phil Jackson went to the Lakers, he brought Tex Winter with him. And now every coach in the NBA, except for the real old ones, has like a Tex Winter on the bench.
Come on, Tex, let's go.
Yeah, wow. That's good.
Triangle.
He's got that raspy voice, which is with the cigarette. You can hear in that voice that Phil Jackson's been known to smoke. Not reefer, necessarily.
I don't know.
Oh, that too.
All right, boys, huddle up. Quick question here. Who's got weed? I need it. Triangle.
Now you're going to Bernie Sanders as coach of the Bulls. $27. So anyway, that was the obvious solution. Obvious solution. So obvious. Michael Madigan's a stubborn guy, D. He's not going down without a fight.
Yeah, he's a weirdo. Yeah, greasy weirdo.
Here we are.
All right, everybody. Oh, yes, Kyle Young, 2 for 2 today, buddy. He says, here's Ben today. It's so obvious. Madigan needed to step down. Here's Ben a couple of weeks ago. I don't know about Madigan. So I guess we should ask the bus. Because I can never tell. So let's just get an update now. Ben, are you on or off this bus?
Oh, man. All right. I'm on the bus.
Okay, cool.
I'm on the bus. Kyle, this time I'm on the bus, okay? We'll see where I am tomorrow. Will you still love me?
Oh, my God.
Tomorrow. Come on, Kyle. I'm on the bus. Chris Welch, drive that bus. Come on. Come on, Chris Welch.
Oh, no. Well, Ann Williams is in the seat now, so you're going to have to wait there. Ann, easy on the horn.
I think Ann would compromise with the Black Caucus. I think she would.
All right, he's on the bus. And Ben, I hate to do it, but I got to charge you again. So step on in.
Wait, is my card expired? Has it expired in all these months of the pandemic?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You got a little bit left, I guess. Okay, so there you are. That's our local news, everybody. Remember, you can download previous Ben Joravsky shows, Benny J bonus interviews, and so much more at chicagoreader.com and wherever else you download podcasts. Over 800 episodes of the Ben Joravsky Show. And we're on the march to 1 million downloads. We just want to mention that, by the way. We're at over 800,000. The march to 1 million begins on the Ben Joravsky Show. So, hey, go download some shows, all right? Even if you're on the live stream chat, just go download them, all right? We won't say anything. 1 million! Here we come, baby!
And when we hit 1 million, Dennis is going to get $1 million bonus. So that's
okay. Our new sponsor, JB Pritzker. Yeah, and speaking of the live stream chat, if you download all the time, check out the live stream chat. Tuesdays through Fridays, 1 until 3 p.m. Central Time at the Chicago. What's so funny?
It's just the notion of you getting $1 million bonus. Oh, here's your bonus, D. $1 million.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Check us out Tuesdays through Fridays, 1 until 3 p.m. Central Time at the Chicago Reader YouTube channel. And join the live stream chat. Hear from Kyle. Talk to him. He's there in the live stream chat. Go check it out. Also, follow us on social media at Benny J Show, BENNY, the letter J Show. Send us an email, bennyjshow@gmail.com. And, of course, you can call the Ben Joravsky Show, 708-658-4788. That number again, 708-658-4788. We'd love to hear from you.
All right, we've got the legendary Marc Sims is going to be joining us real soon after we take this break.
All right, everybody, Marc Sims is coming up. And in the meantime, what I'm going to do is play our bonus interview that we dropped on Monday with Alderwoman Jeanette Taylor. Holy crap, this interview is awesome. So my plan is to play a little bit of it, do a little tease, and then turn it down immediately. And hopefully you'll want to hear more and go download it. I know it's sneaky, but it's what you do on a podcast, I guess. All right, so I'm going to play that interview with Jeanette Taylor. Check it out. And when we come back, the one, the only Marc Sims.
In this. And so even before the election, if I'm talking about fraud, things tell me you're going to come up with something if it doesn't go in your favor. And so this is what happens 4 years of nobody saying, hey, that's wrong. People standing behind him at press conferences going, oh my God, did he say that? Instead of going saying, hey, I know the president said this, but this is what's correct. Nobody did anything of that for 4 years. So this is just a pot boiling over. And we cannot have people in power who are so power hungry that they ignore the very things that our forefathers fought for to us to have in a place to have some checks and balances. And I'm not saying the checks and balances are always fair, but you got to have something in place. But this is a result of unchecked power.
Well, there were some people down through the years that defied Donald Trump. And say what you will about Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer, but they initiated impeachment hearings against Donald Trump. The real problem, in my humble opinion, get your opinion on this, is that the Republican Party is so cowardly in the face of Donald Trump. I mean, even now, there's really, I believe, there's maybe
this election, what it was, 127.
Yeah.
I saw, but that's because you got to remember what the play is. They got to get reelected, so they got to look like they did something to protect the president that they love. So this wasn't about right and wrong. This is about I got to protect my cushy. Mitch McConnell is probably worth more than every elected official put together. This was them about them protecting their interests. They didn't care about right and wrong, because anybody who got on TV and said that was okay, anybody who said that wasn't a terrorist attack, is problematic as hell, and they should not play a part in anything that has to do with democracy, because that was not democracy. And we just gonna be honest, had them been black folks, they be dead. This will be a different story.
Well, all right, let's get to the security issues.
Actually, to get to those security issues, go download our interview with Jeanette Taylor, chicagoreader.com, and wherever else you download your favorite podcasts. It's this weekend's Benny J bonus interviews. Go check them out. Hour number 2 of your Ben Joravsky Show is brought to you by SEIU Healthcare, Illinois, Indiana, the Chicago Federation of Labor, and the Chicago Reader. Benny J, take it away.
With us, the great, the legendary Marc Sims, Pride and Joy of Fenger High School, and the host of a great podcast, Just a Few Questions, with the great Marc Sims. Welcome back, Marc Sims.
Can you hear me, Ben?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear.
Sound great.
And you can see me now. How about that, huh?
Bizarre. I want to see the brown line.
Okay.
No, don't worry about it.
Don't they all? Don't they all?
I would do that for you. I would.
No, that's okay.
Move the camera. But something, okay, Marc's been coming on the show for a long time. Before we get to the issues of the day, I have to say this. Marc's been coming on the show for a long time. And before that, I was a guest on his show. And just the other day, we were chatting about this, that, and the other thing, and I learned something that I didn't know. That there's 2 parts of the great Marc Sims podcasting empire. There's one for members only.
Damn right.
By us, for us. Explain. Explain this, Marc. I just learned this last week.
This is behind the scene conversation for your viewers at home. We talked last week. Yeah. I said I had a different podcast, and it's called 400 Plus, meaning 400 years plus the Negroes have been here, okay, descendants of the slaves. And you were like, you got kind of upset. You said something like, can I be on the podcast that's just for Negroes? And I said, no, Ben, you can't be on this podcast for the Negroes.
I wanted to be Jackie Robinson. I wanted to be Jackie Joravsky. the first white man on Marc Sims for black people only.
400 plus. See, the thing about it is that, see, you went to a high school where they had separate racial lunchroom tables.
Yes.
So you understand how, I know that was a long time ago, that was ancient history.
Yes.
But you understand, what it is that, I mean, one thing is that I can't make everybody happy. You know how podcasts are, right? The original podcast that's Dennis sending me a text. I got to stop it. The original podcast was just a few questions, Marc Sims, right? But there are issues that, like, and your buddy Monroe Anderson said this. He said a few times on your show. Not all, but most African Americans, most black people like to talk about black issues. Here's a perfect example. I had this lady on my show, and a few ladies on my show. Let's do Emily Hanford. Emily Hanford is a great reporter from American Public Radio Reports. She's been reporting great for years, reporting on the science of reading, how children read and all the science. Very phenomenal. But so I have her on the podcast. Of course, when I post that on the social media, most of my people I listen to have on my social media are African Americans, right? Been on there like 10 years. So they will see this white face and just, okay, let's move to the next story. You know, we've talked about this because I had Karen Hawkins on the show yesterday, right? Karen Hawkins, the co-publisher of the Chicago Reader. And I was telling her off camera when the show was over, you know, I post stuff with Ben on Ben stuff. I post your stuff on social media, right? So when Karen Hawkins is on your show, if I just posted a picture of Benny J and just your picture, most people who don't know Benny J, like, let's keep going, right? So if I post a picture of her, Karen Hawkins, and Ben Joravsky, they like, who this sister with Ben? And so let's listen to it. Because, you know, she's like somebody I know, right? Depend on, not all black folks, you know, but we live in a very racially segregated city, man.
Yes, we do.
And a segregated world. Oh, I think we had an insurrection in this country the other day partly because these people are very upset this country's gone beyond the brownie of America. This is getting very serious for them. So I understand what they're going.
But okay, but here's one of the good things about the internet is that even if the one podcast is for black people only in terms of being guests, anybody can listen to it.
Well, yes, but I mean, it's just like we're not going on the show and like, yeah, we got to plan something against Whitey, man. We tired of them. It's not like that type of show. But you know, it's just like it's the guy I had on my show, Harold Lucas. You know Harold Lucas?
Yes.
Harold Lucas been around a long time, proponent of Bronzeville, and so Harold Lucas is almost like sometimes too black for WVON. WVON radio is the voice of the Negro, originally the voice of the Negro. Your buddies Atiba and David is on that show, right? So it's like, and I can only have maybe Harold Lucas on the 400 plus Negro show, black folk show. I can't have him because if I have too many Harold Lucases on the Just a Few Questions show, it would just turn off other people. Because if you have too many white folks, the Latinos like, where do we come in? The Asians, hey, you got, when do we come on the show? Every group wants to be representative, okay? If I have too many men on my show because I don't connect well with women, mainly because maybe they sense my misogyny. I don't know what it is. And so I have a bunch of men on the show because men like to talk. It's a fraternity. Like I have Charlie Meyerson on the show, your buddies. Most of my guests, Ben, are from your show. I ask a lot of people to come on my show. Most people say no, or they just ignore me. But when I say Ben Joravsky, oh, you know Ben? Yeah, I know Ben. Ben's cool. Ben, my buddy. Benny J, man. And so a lot of my guests have been on the show because, like Karen Hawkins, because of the Ben Joravsky link. That's just the way relationship works. But so Charlie Meyerson was phenomenal. But he's a dude called Charlie Meyerson. Well, send him an email. I don't think we did a pre-interview. We just did emails. Yeah, I do the show. He's somewhat retired. He's in his 60s. He's self-actualized. It's not a problem. But anybody else is going to be a lot difficult because we have jobs to, you know, like I sent a letter the other day to the mayor, your mayor, my mayor, Lori Lightfoot. I want to get Lori Lightfoot on the show. Ben, you introduced me to Lori Lightfoot.
Yes, I did.
A picture with Lori Lightfoot. So that's the hook. I say and on the letter I said, Marc Sims, frequent guest of on the Ben Joravsky show, Benny J show, and I also said you met me at the Benny J show. I mean, if she reads the letter or her people read the letter, but the point is that I'm not going to have Lori Lightfoot on the 400 plus show. She's the general audience, G like the rated G, general audiences. So that's how it works. But then again, the problem I have, I can't make all black people happy. And if I on my number one show, Just a Few Questions, if that goes well, I would like to get celebrities. If I get more celebrities, then I'm more mainstream. I may have crossed over, and then I have to throw most of my people under the bus.
Oh, come on. No, you can. I do believe you can mix them. I do believe
you can mix them. You can, but you have to be if you're too pro-black, or there's a picture out, and I won't say that. I'll tell you that story off the air. I got too many stories. I got to be careful. I think it's like me and you talking, but I forgot thousands of people listening to this.
Well, by the way, so just some of the people that you've had on your Just a Few Questions show, you mentioned Karen Hawkins, dear friend of mine.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, she is my editor at The Reader. She's been on this show several times. Charlie Meyerson, the newsman, been around for a while in the Chicago, you're right? He has Public Square, which is his
Chicago Public Square.
Yeah, aggregation service every day. He's always getting some right winger mad because this is too lefty for me, and then they quit, which is always I smile. You know, you got to be more fair and put up Fox stuff. Well, you just poor Charlie gets it both ways. But you also have Gary Meyer. This is now a lot of our younger listeners won't know this name, but Gary Meyer was a big time DJ back in the day, in the 1970s and 80s, and you made a bit of a revelation there, Mark Sims. When you had Gary Meyer on, I listened to the show, that you were a radio geek in the 70s. And it didn't matter that you were a black kid from the South Side. You were listening to Steve Dahl and Gary Meyer.
Well, that was in the 80s, but it's like when I was a kid. Let's go back. Let's do a little background. You've been a kid. You know how it was. We have to tell some of the listeners, and maybe even Dennis, there was a time there was only AM radio. Right. I don't know if Dennis heard me. Only AM radio. So I remember as a kid, you listened to WVON, and I remember the station. I may have it wrong. WGRT. I may have that wrong. WGRT eventually turned into WJPC, AM 950, I believe. Don't quote me on this stuff. So you had the two black stations. Then I used to listen to WWCA. As I remember, WWCA out of Gary. Jim Rags was the guy I listened to out of Gary. This is in the 70s as a kid. But you had records that crossed over and went mainstream. I don't know the songs that are back in the 70s, but so you turn this channel, you like, they playing some black songs on WLS or WCFL? And you listen to, like, what's the guy? Bob Surratt. He's still on the radio. What's the weatherman on Channel 5? Brant Miller. He was one of the guys on the old, I think, WCFL. And so you say, wow, there's another world out there, right? And then you start listening to some of the rock music, which is cool. And then the rock music was cool to me because a lot of the rock songs wasn't talking about, like a lot of the R&B songs, there's love, love, love. Not all, but most, right? 80% is I love you, you love me, let's get it on, right? Which is cool. And you listen to rock music back in the day when I was a kid, and they just singing songs. They ain't mentioned love, nobody loved me or nothing, just singing songs. I was like, that's pretty cool. So, that goes into the 80s where you listen to rock music, and I think Gary Meyer and Steve Dahl were on WLUP or something. I can't remember, one of the damn because they went back and forth, LS, WLUP. So I was in the 80s. That was in the 80s. So I listened to Gary Meyer, and I forgot to tell Gary Meyer off air, probably what I used to do on public access and what I do now, which is sort of radio to podcast, was heavily influenced because I was in my early 20s listening to Steve Dahl and Gary Meyer. Now, Gary Meyer is like 71 years old. He does a podcast. You can see it for free on Fridays or something. But the point is that I sent him an email on Facebook or social media or something. He said, cool. But, we had to go back and forth. You know how these things work. You go back and forth till you pull it off. But so the point is that I have a Gary Meyer on Just a Few Questions. Well, I can't have the pro-black show on and the Gary Meyer at the same time. So you have to make a decision. Like I told you, I told everybody I should have sold out a long time ago. I would have sold. Listen, it's just like I think I said this. I'll say it on the air. I can't remember what I say off the air and on the air. I wanted to be a news anchor, and Lester Holt got the job I wanted. He was the anchor of Channel 2 News back in the day. But I didn't do it. Lester, I didn't, he's from like Marin County, California, went to school, blah, 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 blah. I'm a former high school dropout. He married a white woman, and have a great life. Let me say it again. He married a white woman.
Is one thing related to the other thing?
Oh, yeah.
To have a great life?
But see, and I'm not saying Lester sold out either. but we all have to make this decision because if we too black, you get, especially back in the day when you had, what's the brother that used to do the NBC5 News, which is WMAQ, and he also did nightly news. Man, drawing a blank on the guy, brother with the big mustache. I'm getting old, Ben.
I don't know who you're.
No. It'll come to me later on. He used to be Frank whatever, ABC News.
Oh, he died.
That's right.
She was on ABC. Not Frank Reynolds. But that was not. That was not the man. I could see his face.
Yeah. But the point is that
I believe he died of AIDS.
I think he had maybe some bad needles. That's what it was. I think. His name will come to me. I'm getting it. Okay. But the point, I ain't take my ginkgo today. I'm cool. But so the point is that when you're black, when you're African American, you have, or anybody, I don't care who you are. If Dennis got a job somewhere at, let's say W 93, whatever, the public radio station. I was thinking Steve Edwards I had on the show.
Yeah, Steve Edwards of WBEZ. Oh my God, you should have heard Marc Sims. He dressed himself up for Steve Edwards. Steve, that's a fascinating topic that you're raising.
Let me go to Dennis then. If Dennis got a job at BEZ,
yeah,
he would have to act like BEZ.
Yes, he would.
He had to tone it up.
Yeah.
Of course, Ben, when I have persons like Steve Edwards on, when I have white people on, my diction gets better. I'm nicer to them. I'm serious. When I had the brothers on, sisters on, like Karen Hawkins, what's up, Karen? What's up? And then when I had the white folks on, hi, this is Marc Sims. My guest is Ben Joravsky.
Oh my God, you got to hear the Steve Edwards interview later. Steve Edwards for years is I don't know what he does. He's like the GM.
He's like
big shot.
He's number two. He's a big shot.
And it was a big deal back in 2000 or whatever it was, where Steve Edwards was on the Marc Sims show that he had on public access. I remember that. I remember when Steve Edwards was on that show.
I don't know how that happened. I don't know, because he was on the air. We're in the business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your business is better than mine. But the point is that the beauty of having a podcast is that you can talk to people you don't normally gonna get a chance to talk to.
Yeah.
And a lot of people understand they're throwing me a bone. I don't have Joe Rogan listeners, so they're throwing me a bone. And the link with Gary Meyer was fascinating because although Gary Meyer wasn't a student at Finger High School, I went to Finger High School. And so
Roseland.
He's from Roseland. Of course, his family's, no offense to his family, it was part of probably the white flight, which I understand. The Negroes are coming in droves. We got to get the hell out of here. Too many black folks. We got to go. So they went to Tinley Park. I don't blame them. And then there's a few black folks out in Tinley Park now. You know what I'm saying? So things change. So the point is that, Gary swam naked as a kid in the Finger High School swimming pool. So we talked about that, and and a lot of people. No, we talked about it on your show with Tom. What's Tom's name? I was on your show at the Sun Times. Tom Shepard. We talked about on your show swimming naked.
Oh yeah, Tommy Shepard from he's from Pullman, yeah.
Right. Tommy Shepard is a little bit older than me. He went to Finger High School. He swam naked. The boys swam naked. And so when I got there in the 70s, they just give us little skimpy little outfits. We didn't swim naked. I think, but you swam naked, didn't you?
Yes, and I was in high school. They had us hop into that pool naked. That was a weird phase that high school gym teachers were going through back in the 60s and into the 70s. And it's a very weird phase. I completely disagree with you in your notion that there has to be separate but equal podcasts for black and white audiences.
No, all depends on the subject.
As we just saw on that great riff you made about white people leaving Roseland, but you're absolutely correct. I actually was listening. I listened to your show with Gary Myers, and I believe he left before he went to Finger High School. And
he never went to Finger because he went to Tinley Park High.
Tinley Park High. All right. And anyway, I urge everybody to check out. I didn't know about the For Blacks Only podcast.
No, but it's really not it's not as bad as you making it sound terrible. It's not bad. But I want to send you one, and and you're gonna see my diction is a little bit more hipper and more jive when I'm on that show.
All right, now I want to say I saw a side of Marc Sims I'd never seen before during the insurrection. Marc was one of my many friends who was texting me that day. I was in just a state of disbelief I wrote a little thing about this for the reader. I've talked about this on the podcast, that the insurrection began while I was on the air, Mark, and I was with Monroe, and I could see it in his eyes because he was watching it on TV. But I'm trying to find your text that you sent to me from last week, where
I listened to that show, and I was watching you and Monroe Anderson as y'all were you were live. You're live, Dennis, live. You're doing it live, and so I'm watching the insurrection, and you and Monroe doing a play-by-play, which was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was Monroe doing all the heavy lifting because I couldn't see it. Here we go. This is what you sent to me last Wednesday at 4:00. This is sad. This is shameful. This is embarrassing. I could go on. This is really sad. The United States of America can't believe it. The president is an national and international embarrassment. He may have to be escorted out of office immediately, and that's not an overstatement. And he came back to it. Very sad. You were visibly. I've never seen this. Like you, pretty.
Well, those are just words.
Jaded guy.
You didn't see me. Those are just words, man.
You see, you believe him?
No, I believe everything. It was sad because I'm starting to. I know my country. I know where I live. This is the land of the free and home of the slaves. This is very serious. And but to see like y'all crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because it's similar to the Civil War. Similar, not exactly, similar to Civil War. These people, if you will risk their democracy just to maintain their whiteness. They would let the country, the country is very in a precarious situation, China's doing very well. They may not like beat Japan. When we back in the 70s, you remember like people was kidding that Japan was going to take over the United States because they started making better cars and radio. And Japan was doing it. But Japan is not China. Japan got what, 150 million people, whatever. China got 1 billion people. So this is no joke. I'm not saying I'm not ready to learn Mandarin or the Chinese going to take over the world. Because the Chinese are smart. They rather just let America implode versus take over the global society we live in. And I'm not saying America should be the #1 kick butt, just going across the country, killing folks left and right. But these knuckleheads are people, they just don't get it. You're risking your democracy just to maintain your whiteness. It's over. The demographics are just there. If you're a regular working class person from Granite City, I think Dennis knows what Granite City is. And so for Granite City, I'm sorry, you got to compete with the people in East St. Louis. I mean, now let's face it, the quality of school and who your parents are the big determinant of your success. Your income level, the quality of schools, and who your parents are, for most people. And so it's over. We have computers, robots, algorithms. People, I know Trump is down here looking at his wall, but I'm saying this in not a pejorative, nice way. The Mexicans are already here. I'm sorry. You have to compete with everybody. The Latinos, the South Asians. I used to say East Indians, but Ramana Hussein, she straightened me out. And so she says South Asians. The South Asians, that's all over the world. People come here. So you have to compete. It's not, and with the robots and algorithms and the AI, it's not fun. I get it. It's not fun. But you have to suck it up and deal with it. That's why the biggest problem in this country right now, I think, is other than the pandemic. I have to remember it is a pandemic. Is this income inequality? Because when you got money in your pocket and food in your belly, you start to like people. You're not gonna fight. What are we fighting for? Everybody got money in their pocket. We go have a beer at the bar. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. But when you feel like I'm losing money, I'm losing my power, I'm losing my country. But I understand the people who stormed the Capitol. The real problem are what's the guy named? Josh Hawley.
Oh, Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri, yeah.
And young guy like Oxford, Rhodes Scholar. This guy's educated. I mean, Tom Cotton is smart. He's running for president. He's kept his mouth pretty shut because that guy's running for president. And what's the other guy from Texas that got the beard?
Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz, man. They are really the problem. The yahoos, I get the yahoos. But the talk radio has been fomenting this stuff for years. Fox News has been doing this stuff for years, and it's really quite sad. That's why I always tell people, I should post this on social media. There was a great, and excuse me for babbling, Ben, that there was a great video or skit on SNL about a year ago with Tom Hanks. It was Black Jeopardy. You're talking about black shows. It was Black Jeopardy. So Tom Hanks was one of the guests on the Black Jeopardy, and the whole premise was that we working class whites have a lot in common with other Americans. Duh. Yeah. You have that's why Dr. King was killed. If Dr. King was able to live a few more years, until he would have been in his 90s now, he would have started getting working class whites who are fighting the war, working class blacks who are fighting the war. The Latinos over here in this country, they weren't called Hispanics back then. We would have had a better country. That's why he's dead now.
Yes, Dr. King was killed right before his movement in Washington, and it was all about income inequality, and it was all about poverty as an issue in this country, not civil rights per se. And you're right, he was broadening his movement, he was speaking out against the war. And that's apparently when he just became too dangerous for anyone in this country. Something I saw today, or I can't remember when, Mark, I haven't talked to you about this. Maybe I mentioned it too. There's been so much footage that's been released over the last few days about what went down last Wednesday. And the one I saw, was last night I saw it. I mean, this dude had a hockey stick. And he was hitting the cop over the head with a hockey stick. Did you see this one, Mark Sims?
And I missed that one, but the officer, the Capitol Police that died, he was hitting the head with a fire extinguisher. Yeah. Beat to death with a fire extinguisher. It's insane. That's why when I text you, I was upset I said, I know y'all crazy, but y'all done way past jump the shark. You know what I'm saying? Way past jump the shark. I mean, people in Russia, like the Russian, whatever, Putin. Yeah. They want. Remember Get Smart, the old TV show Get Smart?
Yeah, Get Smart. Yeah.
What was the bad guys called? The bad guys called? It was called Chaos.
Chaos.
Chaos. You remember Get Smart, right, Dennis?
That's Smart? Before his time, man.
You probably seen it on TV.
Yeah.
So the point is that
I remember a shoe phone.
The shoe phone,
I know Dennis knew. Dennis smart.
I love the shoe phone.
So chaos. It was the bad guys were chaos.
Yes.
And that's what they want to do in this country, chaos. And so this folks, remember back in the day, Ben, when the Republicans used to say, "We have the best ideals. We're the true Americans. We're from freedom. We're the party of Lincoln." Give me a break. You know what I'm saying? And so hopefully we're going to have to work this out. Otherwise, when other countries say, you can't lead the world, look at your country. Y'all fighting each other every day. You can't be the world leaders. In fact, we're going to take away we're going to let Bitcoin be the world currency or whatever, or the Chinese yuan or whatever it would be the world's currency. And you wonder why our standard of living is going down even further, right? When people are like, we tired of this American crap. They can't even run their own country. So a lot of Americans don't understand the ramifications of storming the Capitol. They just don't.
Well, when you saw the Capitol being stormed and you said how sad and upset you were, did you feel as though you were potentially in danger? Did you have what was the source of your upset? Was it just the symbolism?
The stupidity, absolute stupidity. It's just stupid on every level. Because like you said, it's a corny line. We got, corny line. We have a lot more in common than we do that sort of divides us. We really do. So the power, whoever the Republican nuts from Rush Limbaugh all the way down, they just put out this crap. They don't even have arguments anymore, because it's like this. If you what's the old joke, Benny J, about the golden rule?
Rules for he who has the gold rules.
That's right. He who has the gold rules. So if you're in power, your job is to try to manufacture consent or just kill people to whip them into shape. You know what I'm saying? We understand that if you're in control, you want to keep the masses down. I get that. That's what you do. But you don't want to get to the point where, and you do want to divide and conquer the masses. I get it. But you don't want to divide and conquer to the masses to the point where you just hurt the whole kingdom, the whole country. And that's what we're facing. And the Republicans, They have to, let's face it, without gerrymandering, voter suppression, and outright lies, they would not be in power. And then and what were they fighting for at the Capitol? They was going to the Capitol because of the confirmation of the Electoral College, which has its roots in where? Slavery. A lot of these, slavery and black folks are the reason why we have an Electoral College. It's the reason why we don't have universal health care. I don't have the facts with me right now, but I think they said like a lot of things that FDR, Roosevelt wanted to do, have a broader, even a stronger safety net. They say we can't do that because black folks gonna get something. Yeah. To this very day, it's just more of us now. It's got Latinos and East Asian. We got all these different people now, but they sure don't want black folks to have none. Can't stand to be. We let them play baseball. We let them play basketball. And back in the day, you remember being. I hate to sound like an old person, Dennis and listeners who were born in 1980 something, right? But the point is that. I remember Joe Gilliam, I think that's his name.
The quarterback.
He was quarterback Pittsburgh Steelers. So back in the day, remember when I was a kid, listeners, they still was saying black folks can't swim, they not smart to play quarterback. Black folks weren't smart to play quarterback. That's in our lifetime, Ben.
Well, our lifetime, that's within the last 3 years with the Chicago Bears. They wouldn't take Patrick Mahomes. They took Mitch Trubisky. Our lifetime, how about the last 3 years?
What's so sad about that, not to say anything bad about it. His daddy black, mama white. I'm talking about Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, yeah.
He's still evidently too black for the
Chicago Bears. Unbelievable.
So when Cherry Bradshaw got hurt, Joe Gilliam came in. And we were like, yeah, brother playing football, quarterback, yeah. And you remember back in the day, now this is when Dennis was a kid, I think, when Doug Williams won the Super Bowl and beat John Elway. And Doug Williams with the Washington Redskins, of course. Yeah, and I'm not a sports geek, but I'm just saying I remember some of this stuff. Man, he broke all kind of records in that Super Bowl. But and nothing against John Elway. I like John Elway. John Elway is a great quarterback, Hall of Fame. He's cool. They had him already on the Wheaties box, which was a big deal. Being on the Wheaties box was a big deal.
Yeah, so.
But back in the day, Doug Williams didn't get all the endorsements.
Did he make the Wheaties box? Did Doug Williams make the Wheaties box?
That is a trivia question. But that was a different era. What I'm saying, that was a different era, like almost 40 years ago. And we've come a long way. We've had Barack Obama. Then we had the backlash. So hopefully, and let me tell you something, I'm going far afield babbling because that's what I do. Now, it's so weird how this race things work. In 4 years from now, or less than 4 years, you can have a Nikki Haley and a Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris? What is it? Kamala Harris, right?
Kamala Harris, yeah.
Nikki Haley and Kamala Harris running for president.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How the racists feel about that when you got Nikki Haley representing Republicans and Kamala Harris? Both of them are like you were half South Asian, right? I don't know Nikki's mixture, but half South Asian. And like Barack Obama said when he left the White House, I think in one of his final, or the final press conference in the little room, in the White House, he said, you're going to have somebody as president and you don't know what they are. Like when I was a kid, I was just a high yellow Negro. Now people, they say, what are you? Which I totally understand because there's so many people of color in this country. And I've said this soundbite a few times on your show, but it has to be repeated because you're going to have more Nikki Haley's and Kamala Harris's and Zendatas and all these folks here. And it was a time separate or equal was real, but they broke up Plessy versus Ferguson in 54. And so when I'm babbling about all this stuff because of this history we're talking about, a lot of folks just don't know. It's still history about this country. I still learn to this very day. I just don't know. But I know the other side doesn't believe in facts. I know it's fake news. Fake history.
Well, I do not believe. We'll move on from national because I have to ask you some local stuff. But I do not believe Nikki Haley will be the nominee. I understand your overall point.
It could happen.
It could happen.
It could happen.
It's a greater likelihood of that happening than me being the nominee of the Republican Party or you being the nominee of the Republican Party. But I gotta see it to believe it. Nikki Haley getting through the Republican primary to become the nominee. All right. Let's move on to local stuff. This is a big topic of conversation on our show, and I'll put it to you right now. Mayor Lori Lightfoot has announced that teachers got to go back to the classroom. It's time to get back to work. And if you don't go back to the classroom, we're not going to pay you, which is a little moderate as opposed to what you were saying a week ago, which is we'll fire you. So your thoughts on Mayor Lori Lightfoot reopening the schools in the middle of this pandemic?
No, Benny J, when we're off, when you call me, I call you. I probably say stuff like, I'm not a big fan of the teachers union. Now, I'm too scared to say that on air. But, I have a personal problem with the teachers union only because it's the Chicago Teachers Union. It's not the Chicago Parents Union. It's not the Chicago Children's or Students Union. So I understand the teachers union, their job is to protect the teachers. And I know this whole thing is not about the students. It's about a power grab or a pissing contest, if you will, between the teachers union and Lori Lightfoot. And the question has to be, if Toni Preckwinkle was mayor of Chicago, would she compromise with the teachers union? Probably they would make peace with a Toni Preckwinkle, who they backed, I believe, right?
Yes, they did.
So the fight is a power grab. They're probably going to send somebody. The teachers union is probably going to back somebody who used to be a Chicago CTU member for mayor against Lori Lightfoot in a few years. So this is just a power thing. Now I'm all for this socialist. I hate to say, I'm sounding like Johnny Cash. I meant to say when I called you earlier, Johnny Cash may get his buyout. You never know, right?
Yes,
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash, the columnist. Not the great singer.
The columnist from the Chicago Tribune.
Right, so Johnny Cass, not Johnny Cash. Go ahead.
Johnny Cash, with a K.
Yeah.
So I say that because this is about power. It's not about the students. Because if it was about the students, Lori Lightfoot just could back off a little bit. Teachers union can back off with their socialist agenda. I hate to sound like Johnny Cash. I'm for there's a socialist agenda, but just say we're pushing a socialist agenda. I'm all for that. But we need to talk about that. See, we're in a country where we have a pandemic. So a lot of people who used to work downtown, they not coming back downtown. A lot of rich folks like Bruce Rauner, he done left the building. And I'm not saying that all rich people could leave this city, but if a good portion of them did, we really in deep doo-doo. You know what I'm saying? They all go down there. It's like a lot of rich people leaving, prominent rich people, and some of them are taking their businesses from high tax state California to Austin, Texas. And then some people moving down to Florida because it's a no tax state. Tennessee is kind of close to Illinois. You can move to Tennessee and, they don't have, state taxes, and probably corporate taxes are better. So we have to have the big picture about how do we make this city attract. Remember, the winters I ain't shovel snow yet. Have you been? The winter, global warming. You shovel snow?
Well, don't you remember there was a storm?
No, wait, I'm sorry. You about 15, 20 miles away from me. I'm on the other side of town because you're kind of northern, and sometimes it's snow in the north.
We had snow. Yes, we had.
It is snow.
That's like that song, "It Don't Rain in California." It never rain. But I have to vehemently disagree with you on your position. Well, of course, we don't see eye to the teachers union.
No.
I'm a big fan of the teachers union, and you're not. But if he was going to reach out to SDG, Stacey Davis Gates, to get her on his show, he'd be singing a different song. I probably could do it. I'm like 6 degrees of separation. I'm like 1 degree from Stacey Davis Gates. You know what I'm talking about. And so I could probably get her on the show. But the point is that she's going to be political. So I don't want to have that type of, that's not what I do. That's what you do. I don't want to have, when I get Lori Lightfoot on the show, I want to talk a little bit I'll talk politics, but I will talk about Lori Lightfoot. I'm already preparing for the show when she comes on. Hey, what you cooking today, Lori? What you got? You know what I would love you to ask her? She's a big football fan. She is a Bear fan. And ask her, do you think the Bears are prejudiced against black quarterbacks? Just ask her that. Go ahead.
Nah.
And then put that on the 400.
See, I would put that on the 400 show, the 400 plus show for the Negroes, not the general show. You know what I'm saying? No, but I say that because I mentioned Emily Hanford talking about the science of reading and public education. And right now, a lot of students, because I was one of them. See, you struggled in school because you had dyslexia. One of the things they talk about in the science of reading is that it's very basic. I'm going far afield. I'm going back to the teachers union. 40% of the students, the science of reading says that 40% of the students can learn how to read no matter how you teach them. The other 60% are going to struggle. A lot of those students who struggle have dyslexia, or they have to have an implicit phonics instruction to help them. I want the teacher to implement this stuff. No one should leave the CPS because the kid can't read. And you can say, they say, well, it's the parents. I know that. It's poverty. I know that. But in this modern era where AI and algorithms and robots, we should be able to fix. No one should come out of school not reading at grade level, at least at grade level. And so how do we do that? And so, but we want to have the fight. And like I said, I understand they fight now because my doctor would tell me I have one of these comorbid conditions, right? I'm scared to go out there. I mean, I go to the store sometimes. So
now the truth is coming out.
No. So I understand. So like Dennis said earlier, I was listening to you, Dennis. He said 60% of the teachers came to work today or something, right? So you're always going to have that 80-20, 70-30 split. Teachers with comorbid conditions, they should not be allowed to go into public schools. No. So this is where the compromise is. So my thing is, let's sit down and work this out. And also, I'm sort of a libertarian sometime one day, maybe, because I'm kind of confused. A Republican. It's just like if you're going to let the kids in, the students come to school, and the teachers, then when you start lifting restrictions on restaurants.
Yeah, there you go. Now you're starting to sound like me. You know what? If you let them go long enough, he'll start sounding like me. He'll go through that whole I don't like the teachers union thing, which he's been programmed to say by listening to too much Rush Limbaugh, and then yes.
Because this pandemic is real. But
it's real.
But see,
my God, Brad Schneider just got COVID. The congressman from the they put him in a room with a bunch of MAGA hat wearers and didn't wear masks. He got contaminated. Duh.
But Taiwan don't have the problem we have. New Zealand doesn't have the problem we have. Australia doesn't have the problem we have. We got crazy people in this country. America can see the thing should be going down in about 3 to 4 months. 3 to 4 months. If you just put on a freaking mask, wash your freaking hands, stay 6 feet apart, it's going to go down. And the vaccines are nice, but you have a new strain. See, in the world, I'm not saying anything bad about vaccines, but in the world they want you to take a flu and a COVID-19 vaccine the rest of your life, or a shot the rest of your life. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying it's a big game everybody's playing. And so I'm the kind of person, can we do 60-40? 70-30, let's do some win-win strategy here so we all can just sing Kumbaya and move along.
All right, we can sing Kumbaya. And so we're going to have to move along. So before we move along, one more time, tell folks where they can hear both your podcasts. You can hear either one. It's anybody can listen to either one. Go ahead.
I'm going to get this email. That's my goal this year, get my email list, build up that. But just type in just a few questions, Marc Sims. And don't type in that other one. No, 400 plus. See, and you notice that, when I say, hi, this is Marc Sims, just a few questions. If you hear 400 plus, hey, everybody, your brother from the South Side, right on. This is 400 plus for my peeps. No, it's not like that.
It's not, come on.
But just type in just a few questions, you'll see. And hey, Benny J, when you coming back on the show?
Which one?
No, you can't be on the show. You got to be on.
I want to be on 400 plus.
No.
I'll be the white guy.
It all depends on the issue. Dennis, when you coming back on the podcast, Dennis?
Whenever.
Yeah, we could talk about Granite City. I sent you something about Granite City. You can check your email. Your Facebook message or something. I don't know. Email.
And also, before you go here, I was going to ask a favor from you, Marc. We got our 2-year anniversary coming up on February 27th. And, we're going to do some things here. And I was hoping you could maybe just give us, kind of like how radio stations used to do it. Can you just say, hey, this is Marc Sims, and I want to say happy anniversary to the Ben Joravsky Show. Maybe in your white guy voice. That'd be good if you did that.
I'm going to use my diction.
Okay. And I'll just give you like a countdown.
DJ, Dennis, and I'll work on it. I do, I sound like Casey Kasem. Right. I do the Casey Kasem voice.
Cool. I'll give you a count. I'll do it right now.
He was like from Lebanon or something, right?
Wait, he wants you to do it right now.
No, right now?
Yeah, right now. And I can record and then I can record it and I can cut it and then we'll have an anniversary show.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm going to give you a countdown. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, this is Marc Sims, your friend, Benny's friend, Dennis's friend. Dennis, Ben, Dennis, congratulations on 2 years. I wish you many, many, many more.
Aw, that was nice.
That was good, man.
That was out of my ass. Oh, I mean to curse. Okay. No.
That was really sweet. I've been on Marc
listen,
Sims' show since.
Listen, wait. I am totally disingenuous and phony. Come on.
You want to do it again?
Just all
Do it
shit.
again.
You want to redo?
A different one? Yeah. No. That's the first one's fine.
Oh, okay.
He's a pro.
Want me to do it again? Want me to do another?
Yeah,
one?
one more time. Let me count you down here. 3, 2, 1, go.
Dennis, Ben. I was supposed to say Ben and Dennis, right? The hierarchy. Let's start again.
Okay,
right?
my goodness. All right, here we go. This is the last time. 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Benny J, Dennis, 2 years. Happy birthday. You look older than 2 years. I wish you many, many more.
Awesome. Now I'll cut that. And on February 27th, we're going to drop a special anniversary show, and we'll add that into the show. So there we go.
2 years, man. 2 years, and Marc Sims has been on this show, I would say, a dozen times.
See, when you were on the radio, Ben, I don't know if I told you in person, but I used to say behind your back, man, Ben gonna lose his radio show. He got way too many black folks on the show. He got more black folks than I know. Black folks on the show every day. Man, bringing them way up to like Foster and Milwaukee. Hell no, they gonna get rid of your behind, and they did.
Yes, they did.
I'm serious.
I think the black folks was like number 3 on the list.
It was a big part of it, trust me.
Yeah, big. Yeah, it was a whatever. Let it go, man. It was 2 years ago.
I can't let it go. It still hurts, Ben.
All right, that's the immortal, the legendary, the great Marc Sims, the pride and joy of Finger High School, and a host of 2 great podcasts. And I'm going to listen to both of them and subscribe to both of them. And I don't care what he says. Anyway, thank you very much, Marc Sims. It's always a blast talking to you. All right, D, what you got for me? Any breaking news since we started this enterprise today?
Nothing breaking, but since it's Tuesday, we just got a lot of news to catch up on from while we were gone. But we're going to do that with all of our guests on the show. We'll have them give a special happy anniversary wish to the Ben Joravsky Show. Because, yes, it's true. February 27th will be the podcast 2-year anniversary. Technically, March 27th would be our 3-year of Ben and I's anniversary.
Wow.
Happy anniversary coming in March.
Wow.
Because it's see you later when you work there.
March would be our 4th year anniversary.
Oh my God, get the bong out. Holy cow.
Dude, I've been doing this for 4 years. I just can't believe it. My whole life. Never thought about, I talked obsessively.
Holy crap, it will be 4 years.
It'd be 4 years. Dennis said, hey, this guy talks. Let's put him on in front of a microphone. Nobody thought of that until a young man from Alton arrived in Chicago.
Man, it was a little dicey at first. You know, you had to get your feet wet at first. Like, I don't know if this is going to work. Oh, man, D! What's that thing? Play that thing. Like, oh, geez, what did I do? But hey, you picked it up, and here we are, pal. I love it.
Play that thing. You know, that thing. Come on, man.
So yeah, look for anniversary, 2-year anniversary specials coming all throughout this month. Yeah, 4 years. Holy cow, that's like that's a presidential term. Okay,
it is a presidential term. It's the Trump term. Oh God.
All right, so let's do the back half and let's talk about 2 other stories that happened while we were away. Looks like 2 reoccurring characters in 2020 have made it to a new year of Ben Joravsky Show content. First up, it's Chicago Fraternal Order of Police President John Catanzara. And you know, if this guy were the fraternal police president of somewhere like, I don't know, Jacksonville, Florida, he'd be a hero. But he's not. He's in Chicago, where everyone is practically a Democrat. And one thing heavily frowned upon by elected leaders and bigwigs in Chicago, constantly praising Donald Trump. So it makes sense when we read the news last week of John Catanzara apologizing for his online comments defending the rioters at the nation's capital almost 1 week ago. And it really makes sense that now 36 of our 50 city council aldermen and women are demanding Catanzara's resignation. The following comes from the Chicago Sun-Times, and she's back, people. Fran the Woman Spielman. 36 aldermen are demanding Catanzara's resignation in a resolution championed by rookie alderman Andre Vasquez. Ben, of what ward?
40th.
You're good.
4-0.
You're good.
Mm-hmm. 4-0.
What a nerd. The resolution further demands that if Catanzaro refuses to step down, the board of directors of FOP Lodge 7 vote to request his resignation. If neither of those two things happen, the resolution demands that the Chicago Police Department's Bureau of Internal Affairs investigate Catanzaro's action and, quote, their discredit to the city and CPD. I have the quote from Alderman Vasquez, and guys know it doesn't rhyme. He used to rap. He doesn't rap anymore. That would be cool, though, if, like, the rapping alderman, like, all of his public statements were rhymed.
I just saw Hamilton, and he, you know, that's in rap. So, hey, Andre, I'm just saying.
I'm Vasquez, and I'm here to say this, Catanzaro, man. Oh, no way. Like, oh, my God, this is awesome.
Whoa, that was good, man.
Here's the quote from Vasquez. Quote, "We had an attack on our democracy, a domestic terrorist act. It was important for the city council to voice where it stands on it so that people across the country know that this isn't something that reflects our values."
All right. Lots to unpack in this story. And part of it is what John Catanzaro said, and part of it is his quote-unquote apology. Now, I become a student of Republican apologies or Trump apologists over the last week, D, and I got to tell you, they're really bad at apologies. They hate having to apologize. I did a deep dive for the Reader, it probably comes out tomorrow, on Congresswoman Mary Miller's apology for saying Hitler was great. I took the deep dive in that one, so I'll hold off for the moment on that. I had to decide in the column which apology should I analyze, and I went with the Mary Miller one. But Johnny Catanzaro, the head of the Fraternal Order of Police, this one is a beaut. And by the way, it's always a happy day at the Bright One, my beloved Sun-Times, Chicago Sun-Times, home delivered, as it always is, when they get to run a picture of John Catanzaro. And here it is, D, and I'll show it to you as the train roars by. Here's that young, good-looking guy, Johnny C.
Oh, hey, there he is. Hey, Johnny C.
John Catanzaro, you know, I'm like, what a good-looking guy. Sometimes loves running pictures of kids. Remember that one issue? There was like 6 of them?
Yeah.
Turn the page. There he is again.
Boy, and we were on there for about a year and a half. Not one picture of you. What's up with that? Or me?
No, because I'm... no picture. I'm not as good-looking as Johnny C., all right? So John Catanzaro is the far right-wing head of the Fraternal Order of Police, and he decided it was a good idea, politically speaking, to have a MAGA lover run the police union in a city where roughly 85% of the people voted against MAGA and Donald Trump. That's a great political shrewd move.
Yeah, I love the pizza. What can I say?
He defeated another MAGA lover. It was a heated election to determine who was the most MAGA-loving person the Fraternal Order of Police could elect as its leader. And John Catanzaro is the guy who said he had a First Amendment protected right to wear a T-shirt. I'm doing this off of my memory that said something. I support the president. I support the Second Amendment, and a few other things that he knew would rile up the 85% of the people in town that you would think the police department would want to have just some, I don't know, element of alliance with, like you win them over and they look out for your interests. But no, new interesting way to win the hearts and minds of the people in the community, insult them, aggravate them, needle them. Oh, that ought to get you a lot of support in the city of Chicago. But you know what, D? I said it earlier, I'll say it again. What does Catanzaro have in common with Lori Lightfoot, Stacey Davis Gates, Chris Welch, Michael Joseph Madigan?
They love luncheons.
Yeah, they love luncheons. I'm just taking a look at Johnny C. right there, and I don't believe he's passed up on any luncheons.
All right.
So John Catanzaro, after Wednesday's insurrection, thought it was a good idea to let loose with his inner thoughts on it in an interview he did with WBEZ. Wow, man, WBEZ's all over the place.
Yeah, another scoop not gotten by the Ben Joravsky show.
So he said, and I'll just read, this is just a portion of the quote. He sort of dismissed the significance of the insurrection when he said, there's no fights. There's no, obviously, violence in this crowd. They pushed past security and made their way to the Senate chamber. Did they destroy anything when they were there? No. Well, okay, there was more to the quote. Yes, they did destroy things. Yes, it was more than just pushing back security. We're like whacking the hell out of a security with a hockey stick. Now, suddenly, John Cannizzaro, who's all Mr. Law and Order when it comes to keeping the peace in the city of Chicago and dealing with Black Lives Matter protesters, it's like, come on. Boys just want to have fun. And then part of the interview that WBEZ didn't air, D, is when he started singing, boys just want to have fun. Come on, BEZ. Actually, it didn't happen.
Oh, really?
Say that.
Glad you clarified that. Glad you clarified that moment of fun didn't happen on WBEZ.
Oh, we cannot have singing on the show.
That sounds like fun. Edit that out, please.
Yes, please edit that out. So he went and said that. There was immediate backlash. It was a really stupid thing that he said. Because, like, a police officer died in the insurrection. A MAGA insurrectionist was killed in the insurrection. Several other people died, heart attacks, etc. It was a very frightening moment for a good chunk of the population. So to dismiss it as sort of like a fraternity night, beer party was what? Insensitive, stupid, counterproductive to what you want to get done here in Chicago, not really going to build a lot of alliance, showing that you'll do anything to support MAGA, and really undercuts whatever kernel of credibility that you have. Because if you're for law and order, if you really want to preserve the order, if you really want to protect police officers, how could you just dismiss a riot in which, among other things, rioters were literally hitting police officers with a hockey stick? So really undercut the credibility. And then he responded with an apology. And here's his apology. I brought negative attention to our lodge, the FOP family, and law enforcement in general. I was in no way condoning the violence in D.C. yesterday. Just let me say it. Of course. Yes, you were. You were dismissing it, trivializing it. So yes, that's exactly what you were doing. That's why you're in trouble. My statements were poorly worded. Like, what? What? Poorly worded? You said there are no fights. I mean, what were you trying to say? Poorly worded suggested that there was something you were trying to say, but you stumbled a little bit in saying what you said, so you didn't say what you really wanted to say. So what were you trying to say when you said there's no fights, even though there were fights? There's no violence in the crowd. That's what you said. What would you have said? It wasn't poorly worded. You contradicted everything that everybody saw. You trivialized and dismissed it. It's not a question of poorly wording it. It's a question of expressing what you thought, which was obviously that when MAGA lovers hit police over the heads with hockey sticks, it's okay. That's what you said, basically. Now, there's a reaction, you're in trouble, you're in hot water, and you're backtracking. And here we go. I certainly would never justify any attacks on citizens, democracy, or law enforcement. After seeing more video in the full aftermath, my comments would have been different. That last sentence is so bizarre. After seeing more video and the full aftermath, my comments would have been different. What changed between Wednesday or Thursday, whenever you made your initial comments, when you opined on what you saw, and today? I mean, we all knew about the police officer who died. We all knew about the police officer was chased up the stairs. We all knew about police officer squeezed in the door. Nothing changed except you were embarrassed. So it was one of the worst apologies I've ever seen. Dude, Republicans never want to say they were wrong. So usually what they do is they try to make it seem like they're the victims. That it's the other side that's intolerant and won't accept the Republicans freedom to say whatever they want, even if it like really upsets a lot of people. So it was a terrible apology. It was a stupid comment to begin with. It didn't show much political sense at all. It did hurt your union. It did hurt the cause of collective bargaining by police officers. It gave Mayor Lori Lightfoot more opportunity to bash you and your union and your cause. So yeah, it was a total failure in absolutely every way. And it might be a good idea, I know MAGA doesn't like to do this, to show a little humility at this moment. Just to go beyond what you said and try to confront some of the issues, like the obvious discrepancy in your reaction and attitude toward protesters, MAGA protesters, who are enraged by a phony contention that the election was stolen, as opposed to what? Lefties who are enraged by a Columbus statue. Why is one good and the other bad? Why is one a threat to humanity as we know it, and the other sort of this benign little party, like a frat party? That was your instinctive reaction. We should be talking about that, not whether you worded, your words were precisely what you wanted to say. No, I think you've established in your 2 years as a public figure here in Chicago that you are capable of saying exactly what you want to say, and you're proud of your ability to say what you want to say, and you pound your chest when you say it because you're not afraid to. That's your thing. Now all of a sudden, what? You misspoke? I don't think you misspoke. I think you spoke clearly what you believed. And now, want to get out of this jam. So anyway, but wasn't much of an apology, D. That's to put it mildly.
All right, here's a bold prediction heading into the new year. I guess we're already in the new year. Kat and Sarah will be gone and living in Florida by July.
Wow. I don't know when his term is over. I don't see him leaving voluntarily.
Yeah, he'll be gone.
He'll be gone. Wow, bold prediction by young Dennis. It's been known to be right.
You remember my other prediction, right?
What's that?
In 2021, Ben Joravsky will break up with Nancy Pelosi.
Babs, where are you, man, when I need you?
All right, one more.
I don't know about that one. I'm all over the map. I think it could be a Michael Madigan type thing.
Those are my predictions, all right? Write it down, everybody. Kat and Sarah will be gone and living in Florida by July. Ben Joravsky will be breaking up with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. All right.
Well, we'll see.
One more story before we go. Illinois Republican downstate Senator Darren Bailey.
That is correct.
The following comes from the Chicago Sun-Times and their downstate reporter, Rachel Hinton. Try the pork steak, Rachel. Come on, get some good downstate reporting going. Springfield State Rep Darren Bailey was doing well after collapsing on the floor of the Bank of Springfield Center, his chief of staff said Monday, and the downstate Republican was preparing to leave the hospital. The representative from Xenia still has some tests to undergo while in the hospital, but, quote, if everything comes back clear, he should be out of the hospital and back at the BOS Center to do the people's business tomorrow. That's Jose Durbin, his chief of staff. Those tests came back clear Monday afternoon, and the representative and his wife, Cindy, are awaiting his release from Memorial Medical Center. This is according to a statement from Bailey's office. Bailey won a seat in the state Senate in November and is planning to be sworn in on Wednesday. We have a quote here from Bailey. Quote, thank you to absolutely everyone who has lifted me up in prayer, called and messaged Cindy and me with words of encouragement and kindness. I look forward to returning to the Bank of Springfield Center to continue doing the people's work.
Yes, Darren Bailey, we talk about him a lot on the show. So I say, get well, Senator Bailey. And take the high road on this one. Darren Bailey and I, to put it mildly, do not see things eye to eye politically speaking. He is of the far right MAGA persuasion. And as such, We have a lot of fun at Darren Bailey's expense on this show because some of the stuff he says is so freaking bizarre. I'm not quite sure what to make of it. As such, he was an interesting contrast to John Catanzara. And I urge them to get together, get their story straight, because they had conflicting reactions to the insurrection on Wednesday. As I said, Catanzara dismissed it as a bunch of frat boys having a good time. What's the big deal? Boys just want to have fun. No blood, no foul, so to speak. Whereas Darren Bailey, as you recall, said he wasn't sure that the marauders were actually of the MAGA persuasion, and he was suggesting that they were leftists infiltrating MAGA in order to make MAGA look bad. So one guy, Catanzara, dismissed the whole thing as a lark, just a bunch of boys having fun, and the other guy said it was serious, so he assumed that it was lefties who were up to it, and that's what I suggested. Johnny C. and DB, you guys should get together, go have a little lunch, and figure out what your story's going to be, and then just stick to that story. So that was the last time we mentioned Darren Bailey, and then over the weekend, he got sick. A number of people sent me that text about him getting sick. Apparently, if we've done one thing, is that we've introduced people in Chicago and Cook County to Darren Bailey. So you know, hey Darren, you're welcome.
Yeah.
So get better, DB.
Get well soon. Get back to work so we can keep making fun of the work that you do. That's where the jokes come in with Darren Bailey, all right? And that is it. We will keep everyone posted tomorrow on the program if any more updates on Madigan Gate happen. By the way, for those who may have just tuned in, we do have a driver of the bus. It's Representative Ann Williams. She's looking to be the new speaker. Yeah, she's driving the bus. Ann, pump it up real quick. Okay, you got it. Pump on the gas. Pump on the gas. Come on. Get it. There we go. That's the bus. She's driving the thing, all right?
Well, we'll see. By tomorrow, maybe Chris Welch will be driving
Maybe
that bus.
Chris Welch will be driving the bus. You got to pump the gas, Mr. Welch. Remember that. And remember, you can find previous Ben Joravsky shows, Benny J. bonus interviews, and so much more at the Chicago Reader website and wherever else you download podcasts. And go ahead and cut the engine off. All right, thank you.
Yeah, it's very important to cut the engine off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also, hey, if you download, listen to the live stream Tuesdays through Fridays, 1 until 3 p.m. Central Time at the Chicago Reader YouTube channel. And send us an email, BennyJShow@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. You can reach us on social media at BennyJShow, BENNY, the letter J Show. And you can call us, 708-658-4788.
That is correct.
That number again, 708-658-4788. Call us up, leave us a voicemail, and who knows, we may play that voicemail on The Ben Joravsky Show.
All right, very good. I want to thank Marc Sims for being an outstanding guest, as he always did. And, of course, thank the man, the myth, the legend, the pride and joy of all Illinois. Without whom this show would be possible. And as John Catanzara and Darren Bailey will tell you, back home in Alton, they call him White Lightning. Give yourself a raise, take it out of petty cash. See you tomorrow, everybody.
That is correct.
How did you go from sharing stories, or how did you